Time to do all your homework.
That's what I'll do.
I'm a month behind.
Yeah, he's a month behind me, yes.
I haven't started.
It starts April 5th.
So, come to meeting order, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Someone here. Warner here. Good. Wenzel here. Hoover here. Chanel. Beaky here. All right. One change to the agenda under items for action. We're going to add letter E, which will be raising the seasonal rate employees to $15 per hour. That is all I have. With that, we'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported to approve the agenda. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Does any member of the public have a statement regarding current agenda items? This time we'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion's been made and supported to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Danielle's not here, so we will do approval of accounts payable for the total amount at $126,435.21.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Unfinished business. Request from Brett Taylor to purchase Daytop Farms marijuana transfer application. We had put this on hold because he's not here. We wanted him to be here. Mr. Taylor, if we could step up in case anybody has questions for you, or if you have anything to say. All right. Any member of the council have questions for Mr. Taylor?
Did Danielle forward anything? I know she had a few last time we talked about it.
Not that I saw.
Did not get any questions from Dana.
Okay. I don't remember specifically what they were. I just knew she had a few.
The one I remember is you were issued a fine
Yeah.
recently, and if that was paid.
Yeah, at the time of the meeting, it actually didn't allow us to pay it. We weren't allowed to pay it until, yesterday. So as soon as we were allowed to pay it, we were able to be paid it. It wasn't like, we were tied up on our, and the state actually doesn't give access for a certain amount of days after the fine's issued. So the very first day we were allowed to pay it, we paid it. Which it is paid, I sent, for photos too.
What was the fine for?
It's for, not last season, but the season before, so actually 2 years ago, it's been an ongoing issue. We had an issue with an employee that we had fired, and it was, he had threw a plant away in our dumpster without mixing it properly with dirt, and it was on camera, but we fired him, and then he went to the state and said that he did it basically, and we were fine for it. There was other things he was trying to make up a bunch of stuff, but that was the only thing that I was able to.
Now, this is the business that you sold this
It is not.
for.
It is not. So this is, we were fined for.
Sorry, he's asking if the one they're buying.
The transfer license, that's one that you sold before, right? You're trying to get back?
Well, technically, I didn't sell it. I took an investor on that property over there, and then we had disagreements throughout the entire process of the operation, and then they bought me out my final shares recently, less than a year ago, I believe, and then ultimately ended up losing it because of the disagreements that we had that I thought were right, and they didn't. But so they bought me out, and then they lost or weren't successful in the girl, and the owner contacted me and asked me if I was interested in purchasing it back. And so that's when I made a deal on the building.
So, but it is the same, it's the same physical address, right?
Yes, yeah, I had bought that building, 2013 originally.
So, I was told that there was no, since you had the licensed at that location, there's been no activity, growing, processing, nothing's been going on inside that building?
Yeah, I don't actually own that building yet. Obviously,
There's no activity been going in?
there is, so I am on his license currently as a, manager of the business. And we're running it legally through the state, and we went in there and fixed everything that needed to be fixed, and then we started moving plants in 2 weeks ago. So it has like 140 plants in it currently, just small ones. Under his license currently, and then when the transfer goes through, it'll be a change of ownership, transfer the business from his name to mine. So Daytop Farms, which is the building is licensed under Daytop Farms locally and for the state. It'll still be licensed through Daytop Farms, that won't change, it'll stay exactly how it is. It'll just be the owners on the license changing. So legally, we have plants in there 100% legitimate through every aspect of, law.
So is this the first time you guys had activity in there since you had the license, just 2 weeks ago now?
Oh, no, there was us, yeah, since I've been on there as a manager, yes. But the business has been shut, or we cleaned the plants out like 2 months ago, I would say. They did have plants up and running there for like 7 months, though, the previous business did. They just weren't successful with it.
Tommy, any questions for him?
I don't.
Yeah, and I know that the place has been a mess over there. We put a lot of time to get it cleaned back up.
You had told me to clean up the outside.
Yeah, I have Wes Peterman, or Resourceful Recycling, cleaning up all the concrete and debris and stuff that's out there, but anything we can pick up physically, we did. I take a lot of pride in my business that I have in town. I own the property next door, and we recently just bought, the old Tri-County Citizen Building 2, and we're completely remodeling that to match other buildings. So we'll get it back up to par how I keep my businesses, it'll be nice again. So I'm definitely let go for sure.
What's your future plans? Outside, inside, would you stick to it, stay inside, or?
Nothing outside whatsoever, we don't apply. If we ever did in the future, it would be additional, ask for permission to do additional, or addition on it to do more indoor. But other than that, we don't do anything outside over there. One thing we did change too is, I got a lot of respect for the pastor of the church back there. And we tried really hard to make sure there wasn't any smell going back there. The previous business didn't have a lot of the filtration systems that were supposed to be in place, and we implemented everything that we said we wanted to do originally, which is all in place now.
You do have filtrations in this place?
We've set everything up now, it's completely set up. We stuck a lot of money into it, it wasn't close to being what it should have been. They should have never had plants and it wasn't ready. It is now.
Would you have hired to come in and do the filtration?
I did it, I do all my own. Yeah, I mean, anybody's welcome to come look at the facility anytime. There definitely is not gonna be, even at Be Kind, you know, we're back there in the middle of nowhere, and we did the same, system through there, and you can smell it when you get inside my building, but, I mean, maybe like 3 foot outside of the building, but other than that, I mean, we took every precaution necessary. Even back on Eden Way, I mean, you're not smelling it until literally you're getting ready to walk into the door.
We have no complaints over in that area, over, have we? In that area?
Not during outdoor season, there are complaints.
In that area?
Either way,
I'm talking.
No,
he's talking all over current.
Oh yeah, they never even got to the point over there where nothing would have snowed. Like they never got made it that far. Yeah, they weren't in flower far enough to where I would have snowed over there. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They went over and stuck all that money into it, never really followed through with what they were going to do. And they didn't have a lot. They didn't have. I mean, you can't grow without CO2 in the building. If you do, you have to suck in fresh air from outside, which really would have made outside smell. And they didn't have that. They didn't have any type of drainage set up. They didn't have multiple things that they needed to grow over there. They were just trying to grow without the necessary items needed to actually be successful. So it is now, and we will be successful there, and there will not be much.
Now, you guys got your own septic system over there, right?
No.
You're hooked to the village?
What's that?
You're hooked to the village system?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird over there.
I know it is.
So the church I bought next door has a septic system. I believe the Tri-County Citizens Building has a septic system. We have, it's kind of weird, I think it pumps into like a holding tank, and then that gets pumped into the city sewer maybe. But it's not a septic system.
Yeah, you got it.
So
Lift station.
I pay sewer over there, but next door another two buildings, we don't. It's a little bit different. And then, we put in a reclaiming water system, so none of the water that actually drains from the plants goes into the city sewer at all. It actually goes through and it gets reclaimed, it runs through a system, and we reuse it.
So you were previous partners, correct?
Yeah, I owned the business there before it was an automotive business. I owned the building already, and then I took an investment on the project to do the marijuana facility. Then halfway through the project, they had bought me out completely.
So, because you had mentioned they had plants in there why they shouldn't have, but you were partners with them at that time?
There was a lot of disputing going on. Or no, I'm sorry, at the time, I was not, that they even got plants in. They didn't get the building done. There were certain things that I needed in there to be successful, and they didn't want to spend, they had a certain budget that they were trying to work around, and they ran out of money, and didn't want to put the rest of the money into it.
So you weren't the manager at that time?
Absolutely not. I wasn't involved in any type of growing at all over there since it's been open.
And then is there a time criteria for the transfer to happen? Like, does that have to be done in a certain amount of time or by a certain date? Or?
Yeah,
Not from us.
Okay.
not from you technically, through the state. The state's trying to like rush it along because we're at a time period where we actually had inspections today through Daytop Farms, and they're waiting on the local license to be approved before they can submit their approval for the inspection today. If he submits it with, this approval tonight, basically, the state wants to restart it over as a new business, opposed to just a change of ownership, which will set us behind, but, I'm not asking anybody to do anything. I'm here just to, do the change of ownership, and if it's, whatever happens, I wasn't gonna bring that up, but, yeah, it's just something that it would help me out, because basically what happens is if it didn't get approved, we would have to remove plants from the building and wait for the state to come in and license it as a new building.
And then that would be a new application for the village?
I'm not sure technically, because I'm still buying Daytop Farms.
They've been paying their license fee, I still see it as a transfer.
Okay, you just said that you would have to take those plants out of there as a new owner in it. What would you do with those plants?
We would destroy them, which isn't the end of the world. There's 140 plants or something in there.
And just to clarify, they've had a license for
There's a license.
several years in there, so they were able to have plants in the building to grow. The previous owner, I believe what Brett was saying is that they weren't
ready
doing growing it the correct way
infrastructure
to be successful.
Correct.
That's what he meant by weren't
Yeah,
ready
licensing.
to have plants in there.
Legalized licensing, local, state, everything was absolutely fine. We just they didn't know what they're doing.
So you gotta document those plants when you destroy them, where they go at, right?
Yeah, yep. So if we were destroying them, they basically get ground up and mix 50-50 of dirt and throw in the dumpster. The state doesn't allow any type of compost yet.
Is there a new business plan then, or are you?
Yeah, so we're basically structuring off our business model at Deluxe. Be Kind. Originally it was Be Kind, and then we got changed the name to Deluxe Cannabis. And we basically copied our standard operating procedures from there. We've been very successful there. There's like 44 people right now. Like 32 of them are from the village. And we've not exactly to say we've been profitable, but none of the owners, me and my two partners, have taken any money out of the business, but we haven't put money in over 2 years. It's a tough market right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been tough.
Push is a win.
I'm opening a me and my two partners are opening a dispensary in Saginaw. We got approved on council there a couple weeks ago. And, we're just waiting for our state license out there, so we're planning on being open May 1st and hopefully kind of cutting out the middleman and selling to ourselves, we'll be able to be more profitable than what we are. But we were able to pay off over $2 million in debt that we had over the last 2 years. And we're 100% debt free and we own it completely outright. As far as like operational wise, the business it does really well. It's just that actually the price that we're getting out of it isn't much more than it costs us to grow right now. It's a problem.
We got a meeting on Tuesday morning, we could always run out there and do a site inspection, or not site inspection, but do a walkthrough with
Yeah.
them Tuesday too.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come.
I mean, I'm inclined to grant the transfer, and then Tuesday the 11th, like I said, we're gonna meet anyway, and if it's just, does Tom count as quorum?
No.
So that, as long as all three of us would come to the infrastructure meeting, we could then take Tom and pop over and walk through too.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to stop over.
I mean, that would be one other opportunity.
Security measures or anything?
Yeah, yep, so we have a pro camera system in place, and then we have the, which is required by the state. Those guys, as far as spending money, they actually overkilled on a lot of stuff, but then they ran out towards them. So a lot of the stuff's like really state of the art, which is like kind of more like a keep it simple, stupid person, but so I'm like trying to figure out all the crazy stuff they put in there. But the cameras are way overkill, and the security system's way overkill. It's really nice stuff. Yeah, I didn't have to do anything with that. It was already really nice stuff that was in there.
So are we required to have anybody from the village go out and do an inspection?
No, the fire department does everything when they get set up, that's really it. I mean, it doesn't
We don't
hurt
have,
people,
our ordinance officer don't go out or nothing like that.
as long as they've got, like the state does their inspection for the security and all that, we don't really need to trump the state on it.
Then the fire Brandon goes out and checks it, make sure they got everything set up.
So you're all good with the state inspection by the state?
Everything went good today.
Did you get a copy of the state inspection?
I've not got a copy of it.
You won't get it until he was holding off until after this meeting turned in. And I was supposed to call him or call him in the morning, let him know how that's going.
And when was the last time the fire department was out?
Normally you would just come out on the initial inspection. They stop out, it seems like they stop out once a year.
Yeah, Brandon does an inspection once a year.
Yeah.
So how long has it been since they've been out?
Oh, getting a new license.
They haven't been open.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a new business, so Brandon would have to go over and recheck it again.
Yeah, they may have to do that. Technically, I'm buying the operational business, so the business itself won't change, just the owner on the business will change. So I'm not sure, but either way, it's gotta be close anyway, because I know it comes out once a year, and they opened like 9 or 10 months ago, technically open for business, so the inspection would have been then. So it's probably coming up in the next couple months anyways.
That's easy.
Yeah, because Brandon checks to see what chemicals they got and everything else. All the things they set up for fire extinguishers and everything else, so.
I mean, I'm sure he's a busy man, but
Oh,
at
yeah.
the same time, I mean, just to pop in a week or two can't be asking too much.
Yeah, no, you guys are absolutely anytime, any of my businesses, or marijuana business, or regular business, anything. Definitely one of the most legit marijuana companies. And then we go straight by the book and absolutely every aspect of the business that you can be in. Anytime.
And we sent several ordinances to be reviewed and kind of fine tuned by, Pete Bay. Do we know where he's at with that process?
It's supposed to be getting back to me next week.
Next week.
Yeah, he was out. But for this aspect, there's not much that those new ordinances do, because he's not outdoor.
He doesn't need a fence, you know, the thing that I'm hung up on.
What's wrong with the fences? They're all falling down?
You know what? This is just not getting started. And it's not you.
Okay, good. 'Cause I keep mine up, I keep all my green stuff up.
I like to definitely go out and check out the filtration system
Yeah,
at the facility.
We can do that next Tuesday after our meeting.
Ron, there's an infrastructure meeting Tuesday. Just last time.
Just real quick, I have not, this
I'm
isn't,
on email now.
it wasn't a true infrastructure meeting, it just popped up today. I was to meet with somebody, so I was gonna call anybody, afterwards.
Last time they left him out. They left him out last time.
Oh,
No, I stole his thunder, my bad. I'll make a motion to approve the marijuana transfer license for Brett Taylor to Daytop Farms.
From, yeah.
I'll have it started, but that's
What happened?
You made the motion.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported, we'll do a roll call vote, please. Thomas.
Yes.
Lerner.
Yes.
Hewitt.
yes.
Wenzel.
Yes.
Hoover. Yes. Vicky.
Yes.
Motion carried. They'll, be out to visit you on Tuesday?
Yes, they tentatively we're gonna be in early afternoon Tuesday.
Yeah, Tom's got my number, feel free to, honestly, text me if you can. 'Cause
Yeah, oh, yeah, no.
I get a million calls, and I don't
I'm just
answer.
gonna sneak out there Monday.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, no,
I got one more question, just on the filtration systems here. Like, who do you get guidance from to make sure that it's compatible with your buildings?
Honestly, there's no like state guidelines or local guidelines set for any of that stuff. So, like me, just research and development in the past of growing marijuana for all these years, I found out what works and kind of what don't. We went with a system called Air ROS. They're about like $15,000 a unit. We put one in each flower room there.
How many flower rooms do you have?
It's just two.
Just
It's
two.
a small building, yeah.
What is that called again? Air ROS?
Air ROS, yep.
Air ROS?
Yep, everybody should have them. I mean, they're awesome. They're actually originally designed for hospitals to kill like bacteria and stuff like that. And they kind of accidentally made their way into the marijuana market when the company was found out about it. And then they had like revamped one of their systems specifically for marijuana. But we run both of those, and then we also run, we have big charcoal filters. That's more of like a evacuation system, so if the CO2 in the building gets too high, it'll automatically trigger those if we need to evacuate it, and before it's up in the air outside, it will run through this big charcoal filter, which also kills 99.9% of the smell. And the air ROS system kills 99.9% of the smell, but it also kills like bad bacteria, powdery mildew, all yeast and molds, everything. It's good to have and grow anyways, even if you weren't trying to kill smell. It's got 3 different filtration systems built into it that does that. And they're pretty standard systems. I mean, it's like a 2x3 box that goes out of the wall and has a PVC pipe that comes out and it circulates all the air in the room, and it has like an ozone generator, and so it's actually running, it kind of smells like rainwater coming out. So it's a pretty standard system. They're a little bit pricey, but they work really well. I have the same systems over at other facilities too. You guys are welcome to come to both. We can go to one and then toss the other one.
we'll get you a heads up before we come.
Okay, so just so you know, Tuesday is harvest day, so that day is really gonna stink. Monday or Wednesday won't, but Tuesday it will.
At both, just the one facility.
Just this one. So when you harvest, you're actually opening the doors and you're taking plants outside into the hallways. And
At the one on Key Road or the Eden Way?
Eden Way.
Okay.
The same thing will happen over there. You harvest and there's like a 4 or 5 hour window where it really stinks. Am I saying like it reeks outside bad? No, but you're gonna smell outside a little bit for that period. There's not really a solution to that. So you're moving the plants around, and as you move the plants and the bugs get hit and touch people and move, it really stinks at that time. And that is Tuesday, which you'll see everybody pulling the plants.
In other words, we're all clothes and shoes.
You'll smell it if you come to the facility, yeah. That's why I took my coat off to my car, because I had it at work all day. I mean, being in there all day, today was Tuesday, we harvested, so it smelled.
Just give you a heads up that ditch along that curve is clogging yet too.
Is it? On my property?
The one right on the curb, there's two culverts here.
Yeah.
It runs right up.
Right out in front
Yeah,
of
they
you.
dug it out last year.
The state says we don't have a problem.
It's clogged again.
Yeah.
Right. Weren't they the ones that came and dug it out because they realized it was their problem?
Is it plugged with debris?
I don't know, I just see it's damn near up to the road, so.
They're not huge tiles that run through there, I think they're only like 10-inch tiles that run on the driveways.
So it might just be back.
Like, I don't know, unless it's clogged. I do know they did the lumber truck last year before I bought that building. I just bought the Tri-County Citizen building, me and my partner, maybe like 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago.
When we just, Deer Creek too, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything clean through there, should be going good. See something clogged.
Should.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To the rain that's coming in the next few hours.
Yeah.
Because Wendling was supposed to have all those culverts dug out, that was all supposed to be cleaned up to the creek.
I'm good to go.
It could have been.
Yeah, you're good.
But
Thanks, guys.
debris
Yeah.
are falling down. All that stuff, there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, like you said, the culverts are, I mean, small.
It's all right, we'll find a way,
It does.
every time. All right, moving on into items for action, proposed change of Granger waste management recycling schedule. Tommy?
Granger had called and asked if we would be interested in, right now, they're of course doing every other Friday, for recycling. One truck has not been enough for every other Friday. So they're proposing that, one side of the river is done one Friday, the next Friday the other side of the river is done. So they'd split the town in half. So people would still have every other Friday, but they would be opposite Fridays. And that way they could still send one truck and take care of all the recycling. They would all do all the communication, tell the residents. Their suggestion was the river to split the town in half.
Pretty close.
Again, people would still have it every other Friday. It would just be one half of town has it one Friday, the other half has it the next Friday.
And what if we say no?
And they have to figure it out.
Granger's one that told us every other week was appropriate because we didn't have enough.
I asked them if we could go back to every Friday, and they said that we didn't have enough for that, so.
This doesn't make any sense if they're asking them to split them out.
They're saying,
Well, all the other trash places are doing alternate weeks that pick up stuff. So that's the only guideline they were trying to go by. But
they're saying,
now they've learned.
right now they have to send a second truck on Fridays, they're telling me. And they were trying to avoid that. Now, I don't know how the math works to where every Friday, sending one truck is different than sending two trucks every other Friday, but
Their current contract is until when?
that I do not know.
We just.
25?
It's not, I said we just talked about that.
3 years or
Yeah,
5
I
years.
think it's 25.
I will say that they have been much more responsive and good to deal with than our previous ones.
Yes.
And didn't do predatory contracting.
But this specifically came up when we talked, when they were here, and they gave us, no.
I noticed too that if their garbage bins are full and people's got 2 bags sitting on the ground, those 2 bags are still sitting there when they leave. So,
They're supposed to take those.
They don't.
Because I think part of the contract, I think allows, it's like 2 or 3 bags every pickup.
They don't.
Oh, no, I believe you, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it actually states you get 2 or 3 outside of the can too.
So we need to bring that to their attention.
yeah, it's them
I
about
want
that.
to look at the contract, I have not looked at their contract.
And I might be wrong too.
I don't really see any problems switching it at all.
Can we review the contract and ask about that, and then we'll talk about it later again?
You wanna table it for next week?
I'm inclined to, it's not our problem to fix, just because it came up last time.
I think, Gene, can you put in the paper that if they got any big items, they gotta call Granger to have a special pickup on those big items.
They do that Tuesdays.
But a lot of people
Oh,
don't
I
know
know,
that,
yeah.
and
I tend to agree with Kim, but I'll make a motion to table Granger's proposal barring the reviewing of the contract until next week.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported.
As well as their response to the question about extra bags.
Extra what?
Extra
The
bags.
extra bags not
Oh.
being picked up. I'd like to hear their response to that.
Motion's been made and supported to table. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, carries. All right, approval to submit pension corrective action plan. We have to do one of these every year.
We do, this is, it's due in a couple weeks, but, any pension under 40% funded, the state requires a corrective action plan, for that pension. We are currently under 40%, so that's why you're asking us to submit it. In that plan, I just said that we take our dividends, from MMD Advisors. So I think $2,500 a month, I've written it down in here somewhere that we're paying towards it, so we are on the correct path, to getting to 40%, I believe in the next 10 years. At our current rate, we will be over the 40% funded. So I really just based it on last year's, because we are moving in the right direction.
And it just had one dropped off anyway on yours, so that helped us out.
So,
You gonna fix the typos in here then?
sure, absolutely. It doesn't spell correct in there. I have the date in here somewhere when we should be correct. So it's 26,000 annually that we invest right now in the pension from our dividends from MMD Advisors. There's a graph at the back that comes directly from MERS that shows when we'll be at 40%, 60%.
Yeah. They call it smoothing.
2027, we'll be at 40% at this pace. 60% is really the goal of the state. That'll be around 2030.
Unless we get a wealthy benefactor that just wants to pay us off.
There's an upcoming grant opportunity for that. That launches on, I believe, the 18th. I have it on my calendar for protecting Michigan's pension. We will be submitting for that.
Awesome.
Make a motion to approve the submitted pension corrective action plan as submitted.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approval to sign the Saginaw County ARPA grant application. This is for our kayak launch. It just has some defined project specifications. Basically, we pay for the stuff and then we get reimbursed.
Yeah, that's the same way with the fire department grant.
I did meet with Bob Bellman, who's the Saginaw controller, yesterday. We went over this. Everything seems to be good. We just have to work out our agreement with the township, and how we're gonna work together. Talk to Joe Ruthig. He's all in on whatever we have to do to make this happen. The big question was the MD&R grant we were supposed to try to get. We did not qualify for that grant. So Mr. Bellman seems like he's good on what we submitted, and I feel confident. The only hiccup, they need to see a lot of work done by mid next year, or can't remember the date, so we would have to start working on this. As soon as we got the funds guaranteed to us, we would have to start setting up, getting beds, and next spring we would have to start construction.
I think we probably actually want to maybe start in late July and August because the river will be really low and we can clean that slip out and maybe even dam it up so we can get in there to shore up and do whatever work's got to be done.
They want to see a lot of work done by September, August and September, so I mean,
This year?
next year, 2024.
Well, that'll give us a year then. If we start, we can't start in the spring, it's too wet.
Right.
So,
Early summer, late spring would be ideal, I believe, next year.
okay.
We can get started.
You guys said we didn't qualify for the other one. Can we do anything to the application and resubmit or no?
This is
crazy to say this, we didn't really wanna qualify.
We didn't wanna qualify.
This is better
This
because,
is more money.
yeah,
I want both.
The other one was to supplement, so they didn't have to give us more money.
And the other one required us to get matching funds.
right.
So, it's weird to say, but by not qualifying, it was a good thing. A lot of good thing, it worked out.
I'll make a motion that we sign the Saginaw County Upper Grant application.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, request by Heritage Vintage Market to hang banner across M57 to promote May 7th event at Saginaw County Fairgrounds.
There's a picture in the back of your packet I gave you of what that banner will look like. They're having events at the fairground, a couple of them this summer. They've never hung a banner in town this way. I brought it to get approved. Of course, the state still has to approve it after we do, we still have to get a permit for it, but
Where are they gonna hang it in the same spot?
same spot.
Yeah. You gotta make sure to put that in it.
Right. But it's 40 feet long, 3 feet tall, hang about 57. And we will not be hanging it, so then they had to, hang it, maybe reach out to the fire department and see if they can hire you guys to hang it, but the village won't do it.
I'll make a motion to let them, yeah, go ahead, Ross.
I'll make a motion for Heritage Vintage Market to hang a banner across M57 to promote their event.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, letter E, raise the seasonal rate. I believe the seasonal rate is currently about
$12.
$12 an hour. And
$12 unless you're returning, and that's $12.50, that's how they get it.
yeah, and we're talking about raising it to 15.
Right. Let's just get through.
Seasonal workers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
The
kids that come
seasonal,
in
the
for
summer
summer.
kids and stuff, so they get hired $12 an hour, but they're busting their hump like other DPW and everyone. And if they come back the following year, the only raise they get is 50 cents. They come back a third year, still $12.50, it doesn't change. So that was a discussion yesterday, and we thought, in accordance with hiring the person to oversee the check-in stuff down the park, because we found the workaround, which sounds bad, to offer that more, that in turn, we should just make the seasonal kids the same. Because we don't want anyone that comes back here and works with these guys to decide, hey, I want that, it's a couple bucks more. So, in
We
the
don't want to
end,
compete
we don't want
against ourselves.
no competing against ourselves, so the discussion yesterday, and we thought we could make it happen, was to put the seasonal people to $50 an hour. The new person we wanna try to hire, I think is gonna be the same rate. So there can be, no competing, so that's it.
Well,
There are currently 4 seasonal employees.
Yeah.
So it would be 4 people going from 1250 to 1250. We have our 4 for the DPW.
okay, good.
Right, I think those are in place, so we're giving them raises. So,
Cause isn't May,
one of those doesn't try to go to the other thing.
didn't Rod say May 1st was the pickup date?
April 1st.
April 1st.
So they've already hired their people because they're gonna start working, but we gotta find that 5th person to monitor the campgrounds and everything else. You know, we didn't want the competing, because none of them get benefits or any of that other stuff, so.
They're already taking a lower paying job than they can get elsewhere in town.
Right, and, maybe for $15 an hour for the summer, 40 hours.
That'll put us in line with Lippert and Highland,
Right.
so. That's it.
Motion to approve the seasonal worker wage increase to $15.
Of course.
motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good, now maybe they can put some gas in that car.
Yeah.
After their paycheck goes to fill the tank. Infrastructure.
As you noticed, that they started on, Front Street.
Yep.
The tree removal is completely done. Tom, has Consumer said anything about when they're gonna come and move the poles?
I have not heard that either in OHM last time I talked to them.
Okay. That's the next project, is moving some poles down there. But they, got the piping in, they got loads of sand down there on Front Street, and I don't know, I know they've been working on it. They started digging today?
Thursday, they're going to start their game.
Okay. I know they've been moving stuff around and everything. The weather's gonna make sure that, when this is gonna be completed. I mean, it's, this week and next week is gonna be kinda rough on them, with all that water on the ground and everything, so. It's gonna remove some more trees, huh? But, yeah, that's basically what it is, so. And, I know Rod called me, they got the detour signs up, and I posted online too that go down Line Street to Mason Street to get into the park for the Easter egg hunt. But they got blocked off at Liberty right now, so. And that's it.
Cool. Finance and admin?
Next week.
Health, public safety, EDA,
Next week.
chamber is coming up, planning. I don't think there was a meeting. Is there a meeting scheduled for later this month?
There was a meeting, there will be a meeting this month, there was a meeting last week, and it was approved that the fairgrounds could use a triangle property in front of the fairgrounds they purchased as a holding area for horses for their horse shows. So that was approved on Tuesday.
Okay. That was the only thing discussed.
Correct. There will be one on the 25th, this month. Brett Taylor's trying to build a barn behind his property. That's one of the items. There's another item, I believe. That's the first. The big one is the site plan review. That'll be on the 25th.
Great. Airport?
Nope.
Fair board?
It's been quiet since the last meeting. We only had 3 runs, bringing them to 50, but 2 of them was assisting other fire departments. This past weekend was mass fitting and the combat challenge. And everything went good. The ladder testing went last week. That went good. As far as I know, I haven't heard any more. This Thursday and Friday is a blood drive out to the fire station. May 13th is the golf outing for the fire department, and money is going to be used to buy power tools, battery operated stuff now, so they can work away from the trucks because the generators are hooked to the inside the truck. So all the fire departments are going to these, so that's what we're going to use our money for. It's $65 per person, $260 per team, and you got to call Dean at the golf course to get your team up and everything. Then there's $100 hole sponsors too, so we'll be looking at that too. And the next fire board meeting is next Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Any good giveaways? Maybe a brush fire Hummer or something? Just something.
A couple fire hydrants.
No thanks. They don't work. Task force, the end of the month. Alright. First committee?
Faithful leader's not here. We don't know what to do.
You were the next in line.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, basically, went over a review of a different type of fee schedule for running the ball diamonds. So it's more generic for everyone. Cause the baseball, softball, whatever, the kids tournaments have been reduced greatly from 75 to 40 teams, and that's pretty much all they're gonna have all year long. Cause the high school has too much going on, just say that. So they have to use fees, so there was a different, terms are being used now. More, fiscally better for anybody and everyone. And then the other big topic we just passed.
The number for the ball tournament was reduced from 3,500 to 2,500.
Right.
Which I talked to a lot of the head pension, he thought that was very fair. I told him it wasn't official, but just to see what he said, and he had agreed that that was very fair.
We do need to see if anybody from DPW, if they have any ideas to get that stand down, now that we got the money for those benches. I wanna get that thing down.
That's right, we did talk about that
We
yesterday.
briefly
There was,
talked about
there
it.
was a,
Mark says we need a crane.
That's what I thought.
yeah, cause he says there's steel poles, posts inside,
The I-beams that come up.
Right.
with the concrete.
so it's gonna have to be,
Strapped.
someone that knows what they're doing, cut it, hang on to it, get it out of there.
So not our guys.
My plan was, let's just push it, see what happens.
Well, maybe that tornado will just.
Yeah, the tornado comes to take care of it.
So, because I didn't know if I would have to be a motion, but can we reach out to Champagne and Mark since they're right there to see if maybe they could give us a bid and,
Yeah. Yeah, if their equipment's mobilized, that might be a good way to do it.
I mean, they're there already, maybe they'll get us, maybe they'll have the ability, yeah, it can't hurt to ask, otherwise, I don't know, is it OHM to get bids, or how would,
It's not something we'd have to go through OHM, and we could bid that out ourselves.
Yeah.
All they gotta do is set it on the.
Someone has to, hang on to it, cut it free, and put it on the ground.
yeah,
You just curl up in there.
I still wanna see it put it over.
oh yeah, Champagne and Mark's might have the ability to get it down.
I was gonna say, we need a crane, maybe that in Florida crane system, could do it, and DPW guys cut it.
I think we'd probably be better off to hire.
Let's just
someone.
not use our people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, put it this way, Mark is a little crazy, and even he said, yeah,
Yeah,
somebody
he
else.
didn't think, he wasn't too excited about being a part of taking it down.
He went in
He
and
was excited
investigated.
about watching it, but not excited about doing it, so.
He thought so, looked at it and said, oh, bad idea, can't.
Yeah, that's gonna be tricky. I'd also like to go down there, maybe with a couple of you guys from the Parks Committee, and look at some old buildings, and look at turning a ticket booth into our park office. We have to look and see what that would take.
Oh, well, that was I was whispering to Ron here, when people were talking. I'm looking around the room to make sure I don't get knocked out, Genie. Because they're gonna cut and sell wood.
Yeah.
We were discussing, where could we put dry stuff, and I leaned over and like, hey, we'd have to cut some buildings empty.
The parks.
We also have the old swag booths.
Village,
Right.
yeah, DPW village.
So I was like, we have
For
to
campers.
probably use that and just sweep it out.
I think they
We
said
don't have anything.
$5 a bundle
Oh, good.
is what they're
So,
shooting for.
We finally got rid of all the donated pop cans.
It's usually
and
$5 to
bottles.
$7 for bundles.
But it's,
and
you know,
campgrounds,
it's got a
so.
cement base.
Again,
Doesn't leak.
unofficially.
And the roof must be good, because I've never seen water there.
No, I don't think any of, well, the ones that leak from the ground up, not from the roof.
So, yes, but I've never seen water there, because,
The ticket booth is good.
Now, the one down,
Used to, when you go in the back, it used to leak on the right hand side. It was patched a few times.
Well, they all need new roofs.
Yeah.
Desperately.
so it was just one of the things we talked about, a place to put wood so it's dry.
Yeah.
Our future parks kid.
I was thinking we could knock, or take those shutters down, put some windows in, insulate it, put a, what do you call that, a heat pump on it. It'll only take a very small one.
Did you guys have any conversation about leasing the buildings out?
No. Proposal, mostly the meetings have been trying to get the job application
Trying to get
set
that
out
job
and get that
description
person.
done.
Can you put it on as you guys before about leasing the Legion, the building for the events for like a yearly lease for the building?
Matt and I did talk about this, for the Joe Ruth and the Legion, right? And whatever the lowest number, we can legally do $1 for the year. Yes, I don't.
Yeah.
We talked about, we just have to figure out a contract out for that. But we've, Matt's still down there and discussed it with them, so.
I didn't know if you guys.
This was a couple months ago, but
Yeah, that doesn't make it to the parks thing. It's been used so
They're
much
doing
for that.
food sales, is that what they're doing?
That's what they want.
Anything they wanna
Need
do
to
down
go
there.
through a food inspection.
They would have to do it.
Yeah, they would have to do
Depending
that,
on
but
which
as
one.
far as the building, and at least $1.
I understand that.
You guys want the actual Legion building right there by the bathrooms, right?
That's the
That
one
was
that's probably in the best shape.
That's the one we were using with the KC hall.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, that's the one you guys are looking at, it's full of seat cushions.
I think the seat cushions are back.
See,
There is
cushions
no
are back
barn.
in
Barn.
the barn.
Oh, okay.
In the metal.
Yeah, the old medical. Yeah.
Cushions won't fit in there.
In the raccoon house?
Yep,
Yeah.
that
The
place.
raccoon house.
Cause I think DPW said they went and got the barns cleaned out and got all that squared up too.
Yeah, they got rid of a lot of garbage. Good. All right, moving on into public comment, public statement. Brandon Terry Kukless?
I guess I was just, you already asked about marijuana ordinances, the attorney's review. The changes, I know he said just mainly fences, but the odor was the strongest thing. Coming up on the ventilation and filtration system being reviewed, so, I mean, I guess it'd be nice to have any new building, even the one that you're talking about, for April 25th. Planning commission meeting to make sure they're following by those changes before we start approving things.
That is one of the items we sent out. That it?
All right, Mike Navarre? All right. Moving on, any council member statements? Any council member wish to make a statement at this time?
I have a question.
Shoot.
Up there on the corner today, the fence.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was a kid jumping on, the parent was sitting there watching him jump on.
Oh my God. This fence?
The one that's on,
Down.
down.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on.
I didn't know, I know we just, did we discuss who they were supposed to get parts or something from Ace?
Yeah, they were trying, I know that it looked like they had done something to it.
They had ordered the parts, they've come in and Mark is building that, or welding them together, or putting them together at the DPW
Well,
bar.
I'm just amazed with the kid jumping on it.
Yeah.
Just seeing how much.
Sounds right, yeah.
Well, and like with the storms coming in, it's bound to get worse. Like, do we have an estimate when welding and it's gonna get,
It's tough timing because they're buried with DPW stuff, getting ready for the, with the valve, checking hydrants and things like that. They're very busy, so he's trying to do it. I don't have a time frame, but I will find out when he thinks he'll have it finished.
Well, on that note, we did get a summary disposition back from our attorneys, and it was pretty much what you would expect from the character that wrote it, so. The attorneys are still working on it. There's a hearing next week, maybe we'll hear a little more on it.
In November.
Yep.
Never know that's what's gonna
we
happen.
got a date for that though.
Well, that's for one of the issues. This is for
I know,
him
but-
suing us for, what did he claim? Basically, we stole his property.
It's constitutional.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
violated his rights.
Constitutional rights. Trampled on his constitutional rights.
And we tricked him.
Yeah, like Saginaw County just tricked them into buying the buildings they don't see.
That just sounds like poor business decision, but that's my opinion.
Got other words for that, but there's.
Anybody else got a statement?
Yeah, Tom, have you checked on, Country Boys fence out there, when they're gonna put it back up?
I have not, I don't have an update on that.
Cause it's been down for what, 3 weeks now? I'm just saying 3.
They were putting.
I don't go that much that way.
I just went out there to check the river this last weekend, and they had new poles up, so they must be making some progress on it.
That was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
So is there a fine warranted? They're not compliant, correct?
They're compliant with the state currently.
Are they
And we don't
compliant
have,
with our ordinance?
There's nothing growing inside of the fence, so their greenhouses are fully enclosed. The fencing now is just excess property and grass or dirt.
Like,
Well, there aren't pots back
Yeah, there's
there,
pots back there.
and I've got a picture of that, you can see it from the road.
I don't know what, I don't know if they're not growing, I don't know, but that, yeah, there's pots back there.
That would fall underneath the blight ordinance.
But you don't plant anything till Memorial
I
Weekend.
don't know. I just said, I
Oh,
see
yeah, no,
things,
no, no.
I know there was things back there.
I mean, everyone's prepared, but yeah, typically it's Memorial Weekend is.
I don't even plant a garden,
And
so
you
I don't
know,
know.
and you know what's funny? It's the only reason I know that is from flowers. You know, Memorial Weekend is when you're considered processing.
There you go.
At the least, though, it's a blight issue,
If you think it's a blight issue, then yes.
so we can send him out to talk to them about that at least.
Let's at least get an update on when they're gonna get it fixed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I know that real quick, 3 weeks ago, they were waiting for it to dry out, to move their equipment on it. Obviously, not been there yet, but I mean, I can just tell them to do it tomorrow. Well, I don't know what tomorrow's
not
like,
gonna-
but
not
I don't know
gonna-
when you
I think
try.
tomorrow's the day.
Not gonna do any good.
Not
It's
gonna
all
hold that
fixed
little
there.
fence post.
I don't think Thursday's the day either, cause that's supposed to be not raining, but seriously windy.
Alright, village staff reports, interim admin.
We touched on construction, we'll skip that. Yesterday, we did find a lead line, by Brady and Chapman. That was replaced today, by a non-lead line, so, that was taken care of. Today was the day that the notice of sale and the marketing bulletin were sent out for our bond. The next date on the calendar is Tuesday, April 18th is when the sale is scheduled. That's it.
We do have a job description for that job. There were supposed to be copies here for us to read, but they're not here.
Might be the middle.
Did you actually get a chance to read it?
I read it.
What was missing?
I read it. Anyhow, there's a job description for that. It might need a tweak before it's public. The
Park Ranger.
Park ranger assist.
Assist.
Park ranger.
Not right now.
Alright. She said, she emailed it to all of us and said she was gonna print it out for hard copies here, but they're not. But it needs to be looked over and adjusted. You didn't get it sent to you?
No, I got it. Everything was what we talked about except for the 18 years or older.
I think she just had in their driver's license,
She did.
so.
I think they have to be 18 if they're gonna operate any kind of equipment.
Right, so that has to be switched or added.
Yeah.
Say 18, that's the only thing.
Speaking of equipment, do we have something down there they're gonna be able to use to cart garbage around and
But,
like a utility vehicle of some sort?
I think Rod and Mark talked about being able to provide something every now and then to do stuff, like, cause they wanted this individual to cut any down wood and stuff to use for sale. And he's gotta be trained to use a chainsaw, like, all the safety stuff, he's gonna have to do all the same safety stuff as everybody else.
Yeah.
But, he said he has an old chainsaw, of course it was one of those, I give him the old one, let's get a new. But they talk, even though the DPW is not gonna have a say over this person directly, he will still be trained by them like everybody else.
Yeah.
To be able to use everything safely.
But I mean, do they have an actual?
I don't think there's something specifically for him down there, but I think if it comes to that and he lets someone know, they can get it done.
We may have.
I don't think they're gonna fail on it, because they know how much trash will be down there and stuff.
Right.
He has to pick up stuff. So.
Yeah, every time someone checks out, go through, clean the site out.
Right, because that's gonna be their responsibility, so.
So even if we have to look at getting a little gator or something.
Possibly, because it's gonna be that person on their own, so. See how many, how much wood we gotta sell for a gator, Tom?
Gonna do 248 bundles to pay for the wood scissors, so let's.
Yeah, did math last night to.
So,
for the-
300 cord to buy the.
But yes, the job description is ready, except for, it should say 18. And she should be able to send it out. She was supposed to have hard copies here at the table for us, but they're not here.
Alright.
But everything on it looks good, everything we discussed, the job description, it looks good, we just gotta make sure it says 18. not just valid driver's license, that's all. So.
Alright.
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody, I did update everybody, but, Pete's got the ordinance as we should hear back. He said in a week and maybe two, just so he gets back with. I sent him a lot of stuff, so. That's all I've got under that. Anybody else?
Just be safe tomorrow and then if it is storms.
Yeah, you know where your emergency exits are, ditch, basement.
Yeah, truck, yeah, there's no signals.
Make sure your flashlights are working.
Yeah, for the Jenny, you know,
Got a son that gets
loaded for
every
social order breakdown. Yeah, well, you never know these days. Alright,
Motion to adjourn.
support, motion been made, supported to adjourn, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Yeah. I don't know, what time was that meeting Tuesday?
11 o'clock.